सतगुरु चरण की गंगा वाहे, मन मैला सब धोए रे। शिवा मेरे कब तुझसे नाता एक हुई रे. If we may use these limited words.
So the only thing that's always confounded me is why is tamasik assigned why is it assigned to Shiva and not assigned to Vishnu? It seems to me the tamasik is a Vishnu principle, it's sustaining, and that you need the Shiva, sattvic aspect, and yet so many of the dialect books have it reversed. And maybe I'm the one who's reversed here, but it just doesn't seem, when you're looking at the Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic, that Shiva would not fall under Sattvic, and yet so often it's prescribed to Vishnu.
Well, if you to get to the answer of this, you have to talk about this question in a scientific manner, in a scientific approach. First, let me tackle the most difficult question of all, which is my nature to jump directly in the fray of the battle, right in the heart of it. Well, let's take both our flaming swords and jump into the thick of it and talk about the tamasik. Now, when you say tamasik, in the ultimate and final sense, it is not the three gunas, rajo, tama, and sattva. It is the highest state beyond the triguna. Triguna rahitam, sarvadi sakshi bhutam. It is the great deep. And the great deep is so silent. It is so of nothingness. It is so with its center everywhere and circumference nowhere that its mass is infinite. It's he about whom the great darkness whose nature is absolute light. And that's because of the incomprehensibility of the whole thing. It is called tamasik. It's called the great deep, the great black. Because the great black, if intensified, produces the intensest of light. I'll give you the example of the tamas, which is the radiant light which conquers the death of death. And that's why Shiva is tamas, because in his form of Mahankal, when you see the Krishna Vivar, means the dark whirling mass of creation, it draws into its vortex gradually, sucking up the whole of creation. Right? Now this has to be a very massive black hole, because do you know, if your earth we tried to make a black hole of our earth, you know how big our planet is, we got to try, it's huge, isn't it? With its oceans, and it's so vast. You know how big the black hole of the planet would be? Have a guess. Have a guess. Let's have fun. Just shoot out. Huh? No, it would be as big as a marble. The black hole. So can you imagine a black hole as big as a supercluster of galaxies? I mean, what must be that? That 100 billion galaxies forming one black hole. So that is an inconceivable thing which may have happened way past beyond many a creation, which is sustaining till, for we know, till I have no words to explain, infinite eternities. We take the example of a normal black hole or even the big black hole. In the center of the very massive black holes, lurking in the naked singularity of the massive black hole, is a star which shines with indescribable light. The black hole is the very nature of tamas. That's why Shiva is called the black hole. Shiva is the great crunch, and he is the tamas, the great darkness which swallows up relativity, materialism, duality, and makes it into the single black hole, because the space-time continuum break down and Vishnu and Brahma are swallowed up. Vishnu is time, Brahma is space, and Shiva is the great time, the great beyond time, Mahankal. They are swallowed up into the tamas. So the sattva of space, the rajas of Vishnu, or they're trying to make Vishnu sattva. I have no problem with the argument of the Vaishnavas and this thing. Swallowed up into tamas. But lurking in the singularity of the massive black hole, after the light has been swallowed up, all light is swallowed up at the Schwarzschild radius or at the point of aggression, the accretion point. It's known as the event horizon. Who spoke? Why did you? Yes, what do you have to say?
No, that's that.
What did you say? Oh, I was expecting that. So did we say it together or something?
I was with you, sir.
You a little later? Okay, sorry. So at the event horizon, the light, space-time continuum is swallowed up. Even the light is swallowed up. That is the great tamas, which is not tamas. Because if light is swallowed up, my question to you, listen carefully. Light is swallowed up, which is causation. Because on the homogeneous screen of light, all your karma are written down. That is causation. Space, nobody has explained this. That's the fact of causation. Space and time. This continuum breaks down into the intense gravitational pull of Mahankal Shiva and turns into tamas, the great black hole. Okay? Tamas is black in color. Red, and this Brahma is white. Or Sattva is white, let's say. But if light is swallowed up, then in the singularity of the supermassive black hole, there is a shining star of inconceivable light. What is this light which after an infinity and intensity of compressions beyond the imagination of the gods even can shine forth a light? What must be that light? That is the tamas, and that is the light of Shiva, which is actually absolute darkness. Total darkness is absolute light. If at one moment time and space, the sunburst of a countless suns occur, that would scarce suffice to show thy shadow, O Lord. What must be thy light? That deserves a clap, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. I have to educate you in clapping. Okay, so have I explained this question? Have you all understood it? I tried to make it as simple as possible. His question was difficult. I couldn't put it in any more baby language. Did you all understand it? How many of you understood 60 to 70% of it? Raise your hands. Okay, I'm happy. How many understood nothing of it? Raise your hands. I'm happy. What can I do? Yes. So, Cabot, how do you find this? Was it a good? Yeah. But this conformed with the. I don't care if it doesn't conform. I don't care at all, because this science is much older. I'm educating the West that India had it long before. This is the Pride of India movement. I have to tell my people, my disciples, my friends, that look, friends, India is not so recent as yesterday, or the world is not so recent, because we are all one family. We are one small globe, and if one mortal or human being discovered it, it's all to our credit. It's a human phenomena. Yes?
So do you go back into Rajas on the other side? You do your tamas on the black hole side and maybe Rajas on the white hole side?
The white hole side, I don't know how a white hole can be Rajas, but the white hole is something totally different. It is all the three combined in one.
I mean, you crunch down, but then you spew out the other side.
Yes, not necessarily. Because, you see, have you seen Lord Shiva with the damru? Have you seen that in my... So that is the black hole, and that's the white hole. But from here you can go directly, holographically, into neither and to eternity of the divine state, without going into black hole or coming out of the white hole. We only know one white hole's which has happened so far, which is the birth of and the creation of our universe. We know of none naturally because we are too small lived. And it does come out of the bat, and it's a continuous white hole, black hole, white hole, black hole. And each creation is damad, 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 da-dum, 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 da-dum of Shiva's Tandava. And each da-dum, how long does it last? 311 trillion, 120 million, 420 billion years. I wish Rudra was here to hear this. But he is missing. So then we damad, 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 dadum, 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 dadum. So it's all creation, preservation, destruction, creation, preservation, destruction. So each of the damru is the 311 trillion years. And it goes on ad infinitum. That's creation, the great hourglass of Lord Shiva, the hourglass of sound and time. Time and sound. So that is the great hourglass of Shiva. So we needn't repeat this, you can take this one out. So you missed that, which I'm telling you, for one person goes out and is this thing. So we were talking about the time space of creation. So Kornhauser had asked a question that it goes into the black hole, comes out of the white hole. I said, have you seen the Damru of Shiva? It's like this. So it goes into the black hole, stays here, comes out of the white hole. So damad, 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 damad. Do you know how one damad, 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 damad? Do you know how much one damad is? 311 trillion, 120 billion, 420 million year, 1,000 years. That's one creation. When he does one damad, that's it. And he's carrying on damad, 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 damad. So the shape of the damru is the time, the great time, the sound time, and the shape of the hourglass, which is also there. So this is the time and sound of Shiva, which puts it into creation, preservation, and destruction. So the black hole is the destruction, the preservation in the middle is the great pralaya and sleep, and the creation again is the white hole from which you come. And there's a series of, so if there's a series of these damrus which are going around, it makes the great creation. And so ad infinitum, circle without a circle, circle without circle, circle without circle. It carries on and on ad infinitum. And there are Googleplex 311 trillion years of creation, preservation, and destruction. Yes.
Gurunath, the 311 trillion years, 311 trillion years, it's so solar centric. Is there something more universal in time than 311 trillion? Because that's 311 trillion years of sun going around the earth, but it's very solar centric. It's not.
Why should it be solar centric?
Because
Why can't it be creator-centric? Creation, creator-centric. There is no sun there.
but how would it be 311 trillion years based on?
Well, this 311 trillion years is based on this thing. Now the earth is just 14 billion years old, so it's a very young creation. Our creation is 14 billion to 15 billion years old. So it's a very young creation. We are not even in the trillion. I don't know how many billions would make a trillion. So 300 trillion is quite a time for creation. That's what has been calculated by the sages and saints. And this carries on ad infinitum. And the silence pervades throughout the infinite eternities. That is what you're asking. That's what's always there. Creation always gods into the great. God does not exist. Creation gods, and is always dipping into God. God is he about whom we know nothing. So ask me nothing. I didn't. You guys took it to such a thing that we are all dumbfounded. What can I do? I mean, that's the state. I mean, if you're speaking of God, we have to give him his due. We have to fall in silence. We must fall in silence. We must. Because the tin-ticking tin box of our mind cannot comprehend. This would make our minds calm for a good night's sleep. Yes. Yes.
You think of the hourglass as male and female back to back? Like the side where it crunches, the black hole side is the male, the cruncher, and then the white hole side will be the female giving birth.
On such a large screen, I wouldn't, put it to male and female. There are none at that vastness and that scale. It's just a limited human thing, It may be a Freudian psychology, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it could be an explanation, but I don't think that makes it up very well. There are a lot more things to that. Because
Shiva, Brahma, back to back with Vishnu as the funnel.
No, this is the great sleep. When it goes into the great crunch, then it sleeps for 311 trillion, an equal duration. And when it comes out of the white hole, there's another drama being played. Because then there is the expansion which takes place at the speed of light, which is Brahma. Then that expansion holds at a steady state. Means after creation comes out of the white hole, it holds. And then after it holds, then it sinks. So if, it comes like this, then holds and goes back. So if that diagram would be like this. Opposite to the Damru is like this. That diagram would be like this. Do you understand? Do you understand? This is out from the white hole, expanding in a billionth of a second to the universe. Steady state, and then the big crunch. And then big crunch. And then out again. Right? So that's how it would go. That's how the design of creation would be. Would you like to wear it on your t-shirt? So like Einstein says, have that and have Einstein's words at the back. I'd like to know what God thinks. All the rest are secondary details. Now that is something.